bending, broken rule. Hound dog howling, bullfrog croaking. Everything is broken.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com. Today we're visiting with Tricia Powe, who is heading up a stepfamily satisfaction and parental alienation experience survey project. On her website, stepfamilysystems.com, where you can find out more information about the survey and actually take the survey. It's being called the most momentous family survey being circulated. So we'll talk to Tricia about her work and about the project. So Tricia, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here, Matt.
First off, before we get into the specifics of the survey and what you're trying to accomplish, how did you get involved in this effort?
All right. Well, first of all, I've been married for 25 years as a second wife, and parental alienation is a behavior choice that a lot of former spouses will exhibit when they have not thoroughly worked through the emotional aspects of divorce.
So this survey, will you explain what it is, what questions you're asking, and just sort of get into more details about what exactly you're hoping to accomplish with this?
Okay. Well, at the website, I state that parental alienation syndrome has critics stating that there's not enough statistical data to validate it, to put it into what is called the DSM. And the DSM, Matt, is what psychologists and other professionals go to make a diagnosis. It actually stands for the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. And a lot of people believe that after a divorce, when there's been bitterness, a parent that has not worked through those feelings goes to the brink of an imbalance, to the point to where they create an alignment with their children to bring them along their side, their position, and alienate them against the other parent as some sense of self-satisfaction, sort of an I'll get you, I'm going to win this divorce, you're going to lose the children, etc. Right. And the parental alienation syndrome is, it's hard to explain except that it alienates the children from the parents. The fathers typically will experience a lot of loss, and it isn't necessarily temporal. Whereas healthy parents, when they're going through the divorce, they have the coping skills and usually will plug into the resources necessary to work through their emotions. With parental alienation syndrome, it becomes a long-term battle. It's an emotional battle, and it becomes vindictive. It's an effort to eliminate one parent from the child's life and from that parent's life. They don't want that other parent around. They want full control. And with the parental alienation syndrome, what I've stated is that the statistical data from the survey is an attempt to provide the critics of the syndrome that the information that they want to validate it, to get it into the DSM. We want to put the controversy to rest. We want to give fathers a voice. And I'll tell you, Matt, there are a lot of fathers that have lost their relationships with their children, not just short-term while they're going through the divorce, but later on down the road they have not been able to reconnect because many children are unaware of how alienated through programming they were as children by their target parents.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. So what type of data are the critics looking for? Through my research, I haven't had any specifics given to me. So when I was putting the survey together, I talked about several things, and your dads and moms that might be listening, and a lot of stepmoms are filling out the alienation survey as well for their husbands. What I have on there is how long you were married. I get some basic information, and what I do is I have a questionnaire where I ask about particular behaviors that have to accompany the alienating, okay? Mm-hmm. Such as, do your children elbow each other, to hush up one another? There's a whole battery of questions.
it's through these questions that we're going to be able to present to the legal field, the mental health workers, social workers, etc., to show how these behaviors are hurting the parent-child relationships, because we want to advocate, we want to promote strong parent-child relationships. And at Step Family Systems, we believe that healthy parents should have equal opportunities to bond with their children. And parental alienation clearly cuts one parent out. And, the meaningful parent-child relationships need to be free from interference. They need to be free from the misrepresentations of an imbalanced parent. And they also need to be free from any adverse or negative programming that sphere of influence from the other parent has. Now, where parental alienation syndrome comes into play and why the survey is so important is parental alienation syndrome takes parental alienating behaviors where they're just trying to eliminate the parent because they're angry or bitter. And what happens with parental alienation syndrome, Matt, is that the children begin to join in the denigration of that parent. They'll begin to say, oh, you're stupid.
Right.
They begin to get the negative feelings portrayed as well.
So how can we help? Where can people go? How long will the survey take? How many people do you need?
Okay. Well, we need 10,000 participants, which typically takes many years to get, but we feel that with so many fathers crying out that they're being eliminated or being pushed aside, that we can get it within a couple of years, or earlier, depending on how many people are motivated to participate.
Mm-hmm.
They can go to stepfamilysystems.com, and there's an S after systems, and there's a link there where they can actually take the survey. And the survey, Matt, only takes about 15 minutes. It can take longer if they want to add additional information. And I would like to tell your listeners that it is very confidential. Only the researchers that will be applying the research methods will be seeing the surveys. No personal or identifying information will be disseminated to anyone for any kind of a list for contact. I do want to caution, though, that if some information is shared with me that endangers, someone, then that, of course, I would have to report. So other than that, I want them to know that it's completely confidential.
Well, finally, is there any last thoughts you wanted to share with us?
Well, sure. I would like fathers to feel that, they can parent as well as any mother can. And a lot of fathers have some concern that the courts are going to, not play in their favor.
Right.
Well, the fact is, you guys can father and parent as well as any mom. But you have to self-affirm yourself when you're hurting. Plug into support groups, and there's a lot of support out there now for dads that are being alienated. If you just target a Google search for parental alienation, a lot of things will come up. But I caution dads and moms to, look at the background of the person that they're receiving their help from. So plug in, get some help, self-educate. That's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Seek counseling if you need to. It's really good if you know personality basics and you know how to communicate well, so that you have a healthy balance in your lives. And I wish everyone the best of luck, because fathers and mothers both deserve equal footing when it comes to parenting their children.
Sure. So again, to our viewers, at stepfamilysystems.com, take 15 minutes out of your day, take this survey about step family satisfaction and parental alienation experience, and help get this listed in the DSM, and hopefully we can get this diagnosed and have increased awareness of this disease around courtrooms throughout the country. So, Tricia, I want to thank you again for joining us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Matt, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. And that'll do it for this edition of Dad's Divorce Live. I'm Matt Allen, editor of DadsDivorce.com. We'll see you next time.
Broken pipe, broken tools, people bending